what is working on Pinterest right now? So the beauty of the platform is it is very evergreen. Like you can do things and it continues to provide results for you over time. But for somebody that perhaps is just starting or is thinking about ramping up and using it really intentionally, what are some of like the key pillars of seeing success?
Yeah. So, I mean, the way that I teach it is that we really have 4 pillars of Pinterest success. It's keywords, visuals that stop the scroll and get those micro conversions that we want, like people clicking and going through to our website as an example. And then the other 2 are consistency and time. And we kind of already talked about that a little bit. We touched on that because we need to be on it for a while to see the results. But I think that in terms of like what's working right now, using a variety of pin formats. And the way that I teach it is that we focus on 2. We focus on standard pins, which link to your website. And then we also focus on idea pins, which are kind of like a short form video type of pin that drive what we call engagement on Pinterest, but it's different. Engagement on Pinterest is different than engagement on social media. It's not that dopamine hit engagement. It's more like just people clicking on it, saving it to their boards, because that's a lot of what people do on Pinterest. That's actually what we mean by engagement on Pinterest. That's what that metric means in your Pinterest analytics dashboard. So it's that. And then the second thing is the keywords is really working right now. And it always works. It's funny because people say like, oh, Pinterest is changing so much. It always changes so much. And it does. Every platform does. But there are some constants and one of them is the keyword strategy. So again, coming back to the fact that it's a search engine, if you choose keywords that are things that people are really looking for, not just things that you hope that they're looking for. So you do a little keyword research to figure it out. And then B, if you choose keywords that are also specific enough. So, if you're a little bit of a search engine nerd, you probably have heard the term long tail keyword. And if anyone's listening and hasn't heard that, it just basically means a keyword phrase. So instead of just one word, it's usually a few words and it gets down to something a little more specific. So for example, instead of, you could do, nutrition for hormone balancing, right? That's going to be a long tail keyword and it's much more specific. And if that's the thing that you teach about, let's say, for example, or coach around, you're going to get in front of a much more targeted audience and you're going to find that there's less competition. Like you're never going to rank, if you will, for nutrition on Pinterest.
Right.
But if you go a little more long tail, then you do have the ability to rank and you're going to get a more targeted audience anyway. So I'd say those are the 2 things I would say are working right now is combining the different pin formats and understanding what they each do and how they work. And then using more specific keywords to get in front of the right people. Yeah.
I love that. I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but I don't want to gloss over this idea of keyword research because I feel like it's something that we as entrepreneurs hear all the time. Like, oh, know your keywords, do some keyword research. What has been the best strategy for you, either for clients or for yourself, for finding those long-term phrases or long tail keywords?
Yeah. So it's interesting because there are actually no third-party tools on the market that give you search volume for Pinterest. Pinterest has not opened up like its API, if you will, for that. So whereas you might use like TubeBuddy, for example, or something like that, or, there's lots of keywords everywhere is one of the ones that a lot of people use for Google, for example. There isn't really one for Pinterest. So we actually just use the Pinterest toolbar itself and it's free. So don't pay for any tools for keyword research for Pinterest. There are some people out there that have them and they say that they work for Pinterest, but they don't actually say that. They just imply it. And you connect the dots and then you think you got something that works for Pinterest, but technically it doesn't. And then we use our brains, right? So we use a combination of the search bar and then our brains to think about, okay, what do my people ask about? What are my main content pillars? What are all my free offers about? My paid offers, my free content, my paid content. And you can kind of audit your content and look at it that way and say, okay, what are these things about? And then use your brain and the search bar to find the keywords that people are searching for about those things that your offers are about. So
I love that. Thank you for doing that little deep dive into that because it's so important and there's nuance in there that you shared that I love so much.